Welcome everyone. Today we will be talking on organization theories and organizational chart with exceptional reference to only human resource aspects as far as theories and the organograms of an organization is concerned. Let us begin with organization structure. Now, basically, when a company functions or when a corporate entity functions, it has to have a formal reporting relationships. Now, when we have a formal reporting relationship, it means there's a defined expectations from a role and a responsibility that a person occupies a position in an organization. So we have number of levels. It's the did I say the person occupies a position? So that means it would have the span of control. No, let us have come to the fact that there would be something called groupings of an individual, as on the case would be. So yes, we are talking about similar kind of similar pedigree of people or similar level of people. Let's say somebody is a supervisor in finance, somebody is a supervisor in production, somebody is a supervisor in inventory. So all supervisors in various departments are grouping of individuals. So that's one way to go around it. Then we can have, did I say finance, productions and inventory? So these might be functional department also. So creation of department as such, design of systems, the way we communicate. All the supervisors are in horizontal levels of employee levels. So they may communicate on one level. There would be another level of communication when they speak to their managers or they speak to their downline in the sense of a subordinate. So communication, coordination, and integration of an effort is required. Horizontal information and coordination reflected in the organization chart. I have already essentially pointed out that supervisory position vis-a-vis finance, production, and in inventory are in the horizontal level. So this is a sample organizational chart. If you look into it, it's largely like this. It's a pyramidal structure that comes around it, where we have the CEO as a top fellow, then it's followed by vice presidents of finance, manufacturing, and HR, and then we have chief accountant for finance. Similarly, for budget analyst, superintendent, maintenance superintendent, we're talking about it. We are talking about training specialist and benefit administrating as far as the reporting relationship for the human resources are concerned. So here it is a pyramidal structure, and I just given you this particular organogram for you to understand what an organizational structures would be looking at, the organization chart that can be followed around it. A large organization would have a complicated structure, complicated chart, but more or less the reporting relationships are very much defined, very well defined. So information sharing perspective on structures, vertical and horizontal information flow. When it is a vertical, it is within the department. When it is horizontal, it might be coordination oriented between different departments. Traditional organization designed for efficiency, right? Yes, centralized authority focuses on the top level of decision making, as in whatever the superior gentleman or the lady is saying or speaking or is mean issuing orders. Learning organization, on the other hand, emphasizes on communication and collaboration, wherein they will like to keep things very transparent, very vibrant altogether. So decentralized authority focuses on shared task and decisions thereby. Yes, we are talking about efficiency versus learning outcomes. We're talking about on an x-axis. If you look into it, it's the vertical organization designed for efficiency. On a horizontal is organization which is designed for learning. Remember, horizontal organization is always a learning organization, and that's an evolving organization over a period of time. So it's organic in nature, whereas vertical organization would be mechanistic because every roles and responsibilities have been defined for a particular position. So if you look into it, vertical organization would have more of a dominant structure, but in a learning organization or horizontal organization, the dominant structure is much less. This is the only dominant structure for a horizontal organization, but whereas for the vertical organization, see the amount of organization dominance that comes around it. It's almost double of it. So vertical structure is dominant where the task is specialized. They've followed a strict hierarchy, many rules, responsibility that comes around it. These are things that needs to be taken into account every moment, every now and then. Similarly, for horizontal structure is dominant where the shared task, empowerment, relaxation, hierarchy, fewer rules. We're talking about horizontal communication, face-to-face communication, many teams, many task force. Everybody is working towards an end solution per se. So it's basically decentralized decision making, as the case might be. So we should uh, put in a light individually in the slides as far as vertical information sharing is concerned, where it is a linkage that coordinates between top and the bottom of the organization. Similarly, hierarchical referrals are the vertical line which identifies the chain of command. As did I say, the CEO and then the chief or the vice president of HR, then we have a training specialist, then we have the compensation and the benefit specialist. So these are in line with one another. Rules and plans are created with the vertical links, reporting, computer systems, written informations, vertical information system, and so on and so forth are taken into consideration. Let us understand the horizontal information sharing. Horizontal linkages coordinate activity across organizational department, not traditionally known as organizational chart. Information system, liaison roles, task force, full-time integrator, and teams, as the case might be. We are looking at teams more often than not. So ladder of the mechanism for horizontal linkages, we are talking about precedent. Look at the ladder that comes around it. See, it's the point that comes around across. This is the ladder that comes. Absolutely, it is followed like in the form of ladder that comes across, right? So we have the president, we have the finance department in which we have a financial accountant, the budget analyst, the management accountant. Similarly, for engineering department, we have the product engineer, draftsperson, and electrical engineer. Mind you, these might be allocated to project A. So there might be certain people who might be elected to project A. There will be certain people who are looking at project B. There will be a component of item who might be going for project C altogether, and that is what is to be understood time and again. So teams and horizontal coordination, where it is a learning organization, you look, we are not following a absolutely not the hierarchical matters that comes across with it, but probably we are following a bulging around which is almost equivalent to everybody. Everybody has more or less equal amount of authority, space, and say for it, where they want to come up with certain planned objective. Now, this is a certain planned objective that comes around it, the specialty product teams, product team A or specialty product team B, as the case might be. So if you look into it, a lot of teams which is horizontal and team coordination takes place. Relationship coordination is high level of coordination requirements in the horizontal thing. Everybody need to specify the task and the outcomes that they are expecting. Frequent meetings, timely meeting, problem solving, communication, relationships, and shared goals becomes a party of it, as the case might be. Let us look at the horizontal coordination, the linkages thereby. If you look into it, this is how it flows. It flows in the form completely on the way front altogether. Now, this is what we are looking into it. On the way of x-axis, we are talking about the money aspect, right? This is the money aspect that comes around here. Whereas on the y-axis, what comes around it? In the y-axis, it comes the coordination or uh, cooperation that is required, the communication. If we say if it will be a coordination or a communication, the capital C comes around here. Now, this is what we are looking for. It's right from information system to liaison roles to task force, full-time integrators, teams, relationship coordination, and so on and so forth is required time and again. So organization design alternatives, what are they? We are looking at work activities, we are looking at reporting relationships or working relationships, and as far as possible, if we can segment into grouping options, departmental option, functional option, product option, outcome option, whatever grouping option that can comes around it. Now, these are the alternatives that comes when we are looking for organization chart or organization design or organization structure when we are going to work around it. What are the three pillars? We're talking about the work activities, we're talking about the reporting relationships, and one probably departmental grouping options as on when on basis. Let's say we begin with the departmental grouping option. Now that can be functional grouping, right? Like let's say finance, operations, stores, receivings, marketing, and so on and so forth. Divisional groupings, we might say Asia Pacific, we might say Middle East and North Africa, we might say South Africa, we might say Latin America. Multi-focus group, we might say, let's say Southeast Asian altogether. or probably if we may say European region, multi-focused Southeast Asian and European regions, or let's say Southeast Asian plus the Australian Pacific Rim countries, if we want to go around it, then we can have an horizontal groupings wherein the supervisory levels for each department, managerial levels for each department, the vice president levels for each department as such. Virtual network grouping is where people are in touch with everyone, probably through the social media and so on and so forth. So let us begin with functional structures. Activities grouped by common function. I have already stated, be it marketing, be it finance, be it operations, all specific skills and knowledge are consolidated. Promotes economies of scale, slow response to the environmental change. Probably yes, because many a times they might not be able to come to know what exactly has been expected, or the taste preferences of the customers might have changed. Prevalent approach, but few companies can respond in today's environment without horizontal linkages, without a percolations of complete cooperation, complete transparency, complete coordination. Probably this becomes a bit difficult to work around it. So there are strengths and there are weaknesses. The pluses are allows economies of scale within the functional department. Definitely yes. Enables in-depth knowledge, skills, and development because everybody is in marketing or everybody is in finance. So people like birds with similar feathers will flock together. So they will share each other's expertise. They will pick up the traits. They will pick up the trending requirements of the or the latest requirement of that particular field. Enables organizations to accomplish functional goals, is best with only one or probably few products. Similarly, for weaknesses, we can have it's a slow response time because they might be isolated. They might be working in silos. So in silos, the finance department will never come to know what is happening in the marketing aspect. Similarly, the marketing will never come to know what is happening or what are the problems being faced by the operation department. May causes decisions to pile up on the top. Obviously, yes, expected that people, resources, decisions, orders are to be issued from one of the funnels, one of the corner, and that might lead to a bottleneck with an hierarchical overload, leads to poor horizontal coordinations among departments, results in less innovations, involve restricted view of the organization goals per se. Now let us move to divisional structures. It's all about product structures or strategic business units. So we have divisions organized according to product, according to service, according to the product groups as such, or even according to the market per se. So goods for achieving coordination within the market, within the product, within the functional department, suited for a fast change because they are tightly knit to a product, as in what is happening with the product, tightly knit to the market, as in what is happening to the market, tightly knit to the services altogether. Suits it for a fast change, losses of economies of scales, and probably lacks technical expertise. So recognition from functional to divisional is what we are looking out here is how it moves around it. In functional department, if you look into it, the hierarchy is something which is very simple and straight on the horizontal level. But in divisional structures, it might not be the case. This might be what exactly might be happening around the shape changes altogether. So let us talk about the pluses and minuses of divisional structure. Pluses, the strength is suited to fast change in an unstable environment, leads to a customer satisfaction because of production responsibilities. Contact points are very clear, involves high coordination across functions, allows unit to adapt to differences in products, in regions, in customers, best in large organizations with several products, decentralized decision making as on when on basis. Now, what are the minuses, the weaknesses thereof? Eliminates the economies of scales in functional department, leads to poor coordination among the product lines, eliminates in-depth competence and technical specialization, makes integration and standardization across the product line quite difficult. Absolutely well said altogether. Now we are talking about the geographic structure, organized to meet the user's need and the customer need as on when on basis. Many multinational corporations are organized by country, focuses on managers, employees of specific geographic regions, Now we can talk about the strengths and the weakness similar to the divisional organization. Definitely yes, because if it is looking into the geographic structures, we are basically very much focused with the markets. But what is happening to beyond the markets? Probably we get isolated and complacency might creeping. So similar geographic structures is we have the Americans, the Brazil, the Asia Pacific, the Western Europe, the Middle East. You look at it, and then we have focused market in the sense of North America or Latin America, perhaps in Asia Pacific would be Australia and Japan, the first world country, as the case might be. Let us move to the matrix structure. It's a multi-focus with a strong horizontal linkages. Why? Because this is a learning organization. Everybody is coming to know what is happening in the other department, what is the problem that one is facing. Condition for matrix organization is share resources across organizations, possibly two or more critical outcomes required: products, technical knowledge. Environment is complex and uncertain, allows organizations to meet dual demand. Largest weaknesses is that employees have two bosses and conflict in demand. Why two bosses? Because in the matrix organization, the employees will always be confused which orders to be complied with, and there might be an ego hustles between the two bosses altogether, for which the employee ends up suffering altogether. So that might be the biggest weaknesses. On the other hand, the employee can take advantage of the situation and can skip work, claiming other bosses have asked him or her to do something separate. So probably it is a double-edged sword altogether. So this is where the matrix organization comes around it. You look into it, every cross point, if I may say so, this is a cross point, and every cross point, you name it and we have it. Every cross point, right? Now this cross point is a point where they have two bosses, and that is what helps them to skip or probably confuse at times. So condition for matrix organization is need for shared and flexible use of people across the products, two or more critical output like products, like technical knowledge. The environment is absolutely complex and uncertain as the case might be. The matrix strength and weaknesses, what are they? Let us try to achieve it one by one at a time. Achieves coordination necessary to meet demand for the customers, flexible sharing of human resources across products, suited for complex decisions, frequent changes in unstable environment, provides opportunity for functional and product skills development. So it's a best in medium term organization, causes participants, the weaknesses are it causes participants to deal with authority, which can be at times confusing, at times frustrating, at times uh, energy draining altogether. So basically means participant need good and absolutely impeccable interpersonal skills. It is obviously time consuming, involves frequent meeting, conflict resolutions will not work unless participant understand and adopt collegial atmosphere rather than the vertical type of relation. And it basically requires a lot of power balance that needs to be taken into consideration. Absolutely. And you know what happens? It is the subordinate, it's the person who's reporting to two or more bosses becomes the victim altogether, and that is where he or she might have the more have to maintain the power of balance altogether. Let us move to the horizontal structures. Organizations around core processes refers to horizontal structures. Let's say the processes might be task oriented or activity oriented. Shift towards horizontal structures during re-engineering eliminates vertical hierarchy and departmental boundaries as on when on basis. Now, this is what is the sample horizontal structures. I said it's almost like a cylindrical or a vertically longest structure as the case might be. We're talking about the top management team, process owners, team one, team two, team three, market analysis, research, product planning. We're looking into it in the form of new product development, and therein comes the procurement and logistics. So this is just a sample for you to understand. Now, characteristics of horizontal structures. Structures are created across cross-functional processes. It is not individuals. It's a self-directed team. Absolutely what we are looking into it. Process owners are responsible. Process owners, right? The activity owners, the tasks, the people that are completing are the responsible for the culmination of the entire task successfully. People on the teams are given authority for decisions, can increase organization flexibility. Customer drives the organization measured by customer satisfaction, employee satisfaction, and financial contribution. Culture is one of openness, one of trust, one of collaboration, and focus is on to incremental improvement and continuous improvement over a period of time. So, what are the pluses and minuses of horizontal organizational structure? The pluses do outweighs the minuses, but look at it. Promotes flexibility and rapid responses. One of the best pluses. The negative is determining core processes can be difficult and probably time consuming. But if things are working, why are we interested in determining core processes? The pluses are directs the attention of the workers towards the production and delivery of value to the customer, or should I say in one word, it's customer orientation. It's completely towards customer orientation. The weakness is it requires changes in cultures, job design, management philosophy, and information and reward system. The plus is each employee has a broader view of organizational sets. The weaknesses are traditional managers may bulk when they have to give up power, when they are shed to cut their wings or their responsibilities or probably their authorities. Now, this might be impeding them or they're hurting their egos altogether. The plus is promotes a sense of teamwork, camaraderie, and collaborations among the team members, whereas the weaknesses require significant training of the employees to work effectively in organizational team environment. The pluses are improves quality for life for the employees by offering them opportunities to share responsibilities. The weaknesses can limit in-depth skill development as the case might be. Let us understand the virtual network organizations. So, first and foremost, it basically extends beyond horizontal coordination. And how does it extend beyond horizontal coordination? When it goes beyond geographical boundaries or beyond the boundaries of the organization. Most common strategies outsourcing, appointing a vendor, contracting out certain tasks or functions. Virtual or modular structures subcontract most of the major functions to separate companies. The virtual network organization serves as a central hub with contracted experts as on when on basis. And this is what we are looking forward towards it. So, virtual network examples, this is what we are looking into it. Let's say we have a research and team development, probably given outside a university might be roped in and they might be asked to develop certain product, which the specification might be given, but the product end product is yet to come around. So that is what we are looking for it. Then there might be a services which is IT oriented, let's say making maintenance of the servers, softwares, anything, any applications. We can also give marketing as to be outsourced by a company. Let's say you build up a property and probably you are asking help of a marketing team to sell those properties out, and that's a outsourced job. And then we have the manufacturing companies wherein you are actually asking certain tasks, certain things to be taken. For let's say, for an example, if we are into an automobile industry, probably we'll be good at making cars or vehicles. But are we good at making glasses for the cars? Probably not. So the glasses can be outsourced altogether. Are we good at manufacturing tires? Probably again not. But these are essential component of your car or your automobile. So you need to understand which all tasks needs to be outsourced. So virtual networks, what are the strengths? What are the weaknesses? The pluses are enable small organizations to obtain talent and resources worldwide, give a company immediate scale and reach without huge investment, enables an organization to be highly flexible, highly responsive to the changing needs, reduce administrative overhead cost. Now, what are the weaknesses? Managers do not have hands on control over activities and employees, require a great deal of time to manage relationship, potential conflict with contract partner. There's a risk of organizational failures. If a partner fails to deliver or goes out of businesses, employee loyalty and corporate structures might actually be being very weak. Let us come to hybrid structures in between of, let's say, using the best of the functional, use of best of the geographical, best of the virtual, best of the matrix, best of the uh, best of any structure that is possibly been there. So if we can utilize the hybrid structure, which is a combination of various structures tailored to a specific needs, probably in this case it can be the market requirement, in this case this can be finance requirement, it can in this case it might be government regulation that needs to be followed around it. So often used in rapidly changing environment and probably is quite flexible. Applications of the structural design, each structures meet required different needs and is a tool that can help managers to be more effective. Structural alignment aligns structures with organization goals. Symptoms of structural deficiency: decision making is delayed or lacking quality. Organization cannot meet changing needs. Employee performance declines. Needs are not met, and too much conflict, if I may say so. Now, let us come with the structured to the organization need for efficiency vis-a-vis learning. If we look into it, in a vertical organization, we are looking for controls and efficiency. Yes, if everything is specified, everything is expected, roles are defined, responsibilities are assigned, authority is being bestowed upon. Now, what does it mean? It means there will be proper control, efficiency, stability, and reliability. So it is almost a mechanistic in nature, and this is what the goals are around it. Absolutely, this is the amount of goals. The authority is very strong. Whereas in a horizontal structure, it is all about learning, it is all about functional, cross functional, divisional, matrix organization, horizontal structure. So we see a lot of flexibility been given. Look at equivalent level. You have a lot of flexibility in horizontal organization, which might be missing in a vertical organization. Vertical organization might be very rigid per se. So design essential. Let me wind up this particular presentation. When you are designing, when I'm asking the audience to participate or the participants to design for the organization, they should always ensure that the structure must provide a framework linking organization as a whole. At the end of the day, it is a single unit. Provide vertical and definitely horizontal linkages. Variety of alternatives for groupings should be there. Virtual network extend is an extension of horizontal coordination. Wherein you are using third party vendors to come and accomplish your jobs or your tasks. Matrix structures attempts to achieve a balance between everything. Managers must at the end of the day should be able to find the right balance and the purpose. Remember, very important, the purpose of the organization chart is to encourage and direct activities for the culminations of the organization goal. With this, I come to an end of this presentation. Thank you for watching this video.